Look how beautiful. And yes, that was just stained, but it's a pretty good representation of the color.
It's kind of tough to match different types of wood, especially if you're taking this bamboo, for instance, and trying to color match a different type of wood. And I think we did a pretty good job. Plan is I'm gonna take out the sander. That's really a multi-tool with a couple sanding pads on it. And I'm gonna sand those areas down and then restain them. Now I've already done this on this section here. There was a lot of that discoloration on this section, and I'm really happy with the overall result after it was done. Right here, for example, you can pretty clearly see that this section, even though we used the polyurethane stripper 3 times, missed a little bit. So there's a couple other areas like that as well. Up here on this railing, down here in this corner, and around this newel post, as well as this whole section here and up here. So I know it'll work well. I just have to get after it and get it done today. So I started with 80 grit to strip down the polyurethane. Now I'm going to smooth everything out with some 120 grit sandpaper, and then it should be good for staining. I'm done sanding the areas that need to be sanded, so I'm going to clean up the sawdust with the vacuum cleaner. I'm going to go over all the areas that I sanded with some mineral spirits to make sure that the wood is completely clean. And I'm going to let that dry, and then I will restain those areas. I've got my mineral spirits, so I'm going to wipe down all the areas that I sanded, and then once that dries, I can start restaining.
This is not a good angle.
No, I don't want to get any stain on the tile.
Why did you sand that area?
When I was laying the tile and doing the grout, so some thin set and a little bit of grout got on the wood, I was able to clean most of it off, but it left some marks on it. So I wasn't happy with it. And since I had the sander out, or the multi-tool out anyway and was sanding, I figured I could just hit that area real quick and sand off all the grout and thin set marks, and then just hit it with some stain to make it look nicer. That looks a lot better.
Do you see how it looks so different than that?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's the lighting. Is it the lighting that makes this look different, or is it our previous work? I don't know. I can't tell.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it dries. It may lighten up a little bit as it dries. It is possible that it's because these areas that I'm doing now, I sanded, and so it changed the texture of the wood, and the wood is taking the stain a little bit differently. And
did we not stain before?
We didn't sand any of the areas before. We just used the polyurethane stripper and scraped all the areas several times. We did 3 coats of stripper, scraped everything.
And we didn't sand.
We didn't sand. We probably
so that is why some of it takes differently. But these are what, posts?
The no posts?
Yeah, these posts take it darker.
Mm-hmm.
This little like flower thing I'm loving on here.
So like most of it I was really, really happy with. I actually really like the color variation that we got because it's going to match the color variation in the bamboo. So I'm not upset that there's some color variations in the wood, but there are areas where it definitely looked streaky or there were really stark contrasts that I didn't like. So that's why I wanted to go back and make everything blend nicely. Oops.
Okay, so we picked a color that is brown, but when you compare it to this carpet that we don't like, there's a huge difference. It's not just like brown. And there's rich tones in it, and it's wood, and it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so pretty. I don't think it even comes through on the camera.
I'm done sanding all of the wood that I just sanded and cleaned. So now we're gonna wait until it dries and see how the color of the wood it compares after it dries with the areas that I didn't sand. And then we'll see if we want to sand the rest of it to make everything match, or if we're happy with the way everything blended together. If we're happy with the way everything blended together, then the next step is to put the polyurethane back on the wood so that everything is sealed, and we'll be done with it.
I am here.
We're done.
I always know when to cut it.